Alexa, enable YouTube mode.
Okay.
Today we are talking about the Canon EOS R6 and specifically why you might want to choose this camera over the R5. For those of you who haven't visited my channel yet, welcome. My name is Brandon Charles, and in this channel we go over all things that have to do with creativity, and we also go over camera gear reviews. We go over tutorials that have to do with photography and video, so if you're into that, then definitely subscribe to this channel. Okay, so before I begin this video, I want to let you guys know that I haven't tried out the R5 yet. I do have the R6, but from what I have gathered, this is the key points on why you might want to go with the R6 over the R5. So, and there's some compelling reasons, from my point of view. So let's definitely talk about that. Okay, so the first reason why you might want to go with the R6 over the R5 is that the price difference is pretty significant. And for me personally, I bought mine from Best Buy, and at that time, I had some kind of coupon for my birthday where I actually got $250 off that camera. So I got my R6 for $22.50, which is a great deal. And honestly, it's almost like if I was going with the R5, I'd be paying almost twice as much as I did for the R6, which, considering what you get in the R6, to me, it wasn't worth it. That's not to say that I wouldn't want the R5 features, and I do want that higher resolution sensor, but just not worth double the price. Okay, the second reason I think that you might want to go with the R6 over the R5 is that the file sizes are more manageable. That means that I don't have to go all out on upgrading my storage on my computer, and those files are a lot easier to work with during post-processing. So my computer is going to be able to deal with those files a lot faster during the editing process and during the importing and exporting process. So to me, that saves time, and I'm getting image quality that is still really good, and the clients aren't necessarily going to notice a 20 megapixel file over a 40-ish 45 megapixel file. It's also nice being able to work with 32 or 64 gigabyte SD cards and not having to worry about chewing through those memory cards really fast during a session. Okay, reason number 3 is it's not as likely that you're going to have to upgrade all of your accessories that go along with your camera. For example, with the R5, you're going to need to buy a CF Express card, and those things are super expensive. I think for 128 gigabytes, it's around $200 or more than that maybe. And on top of that, you might have to upgrade your computer so you can handle those R5 files and that H.265 codec, which is similar to the R6 in that issue, but also you might want to buy an external monitor like the Ninja 5 so you can record for longer periods of time without getting into that overheating issue. You have to think about getting a CF Express card reader, and those get pretty expensive. I think for the pro grade one that has a CF Express and a SD UHS-2 card reader in one, I think that's around $80. And the other big one is storage, so you're definitely going to have to up your external hard drive game and buy some nice solid state drives to work with those files. And I'm not saying that some of that stuff won't help with the R6, because it definitely will, like the Ninja 5 and the external hard drives are really helpful, but you don't need to buy as much to be able to work with the camera. And don't forget about that 8K RAW on the R5. You're definitely going to need a computer that can process those files. I know some of the newer Mac computers like the iMac and the new MacBook Pro with the M1 chip, those do better with editing the H.265 codec files and also the 8K too. So you just have to take that into consideration. Okay, so the next reason, I think it's the fourth reason, I don't know why I'm counting how many reasons I have. It doesn't matter. But the next reason is that you're still getting all of the best parts of the R5, you know, except for that high resolution sensor. You're getting everything else, like the awesome in-body image stabilization paired with those RF lenses where you get, you know, 7 to 8 stops of image stabilization. You're getting the awesome dynamic range that you get with these newer sensors in the camera. You have the dual pixel autofocus that works in all of the video modes, which is really great. And you're getting 12 frames per second with the mechanical shutter, just like the R5, which is amazing. You do get the 20 frames per second with the electronic shutter too, but I usually tend to stay away from that just because of the rolling shutter on the R6 and the fact that the I think the files go from 14-bit to 12-bit after you switch to the electronic shutter. Not to mention the buffer capacity on the R6 is better too. I think it's around 240 images, raw images, that you can get consecutively before the buffer starts reaching its limit. Compare that with the 180 images that you would get before the buffer starts reaching its limit on the R5, and that's on a CF Express card. Say you couldn't afford the CF Express card yet and you just had a UHS 2 card to work with, you're only going to be getting about 87 images before the card starts filling up and you reach that buffer limit. Okay, so let's talk about the 4K image quality. On the R6, you're getting really nice 4K image quality. I think it's downsampled from a 5.1K image. Now, I use an external monitor, an Atomos Ninja 5, in order to get around some of those overheating concerns, and I've never had the camera overheat on me. One of the less known and really positive aspects of the Canon EOS R6, if you're using an external monitor, is that you can shoot in 4K 24 frames per second with the external monitor without having to worry about overheating. Now, that's something that can't be said for the EOS R5 if you're shooting in the high quality 4K mode. Another thing that's really cool about the 4K video in the R6 is that the 4K 60 frames per second mode is actually higher quality than what you would get in the Canon EOS R5. Alright, last reason before I wrap this video up, and that is the build quality. So even though you're paying less for this camera and there is not as much metal in the camera, the R6 still has a really great build. You still get an average shutter life of 300,000 shutter actuations. The camera's lighter because there's not as much metal in there. You're getting great weather sealing, and you still have the similar controls that you get on the R5, with the exception of the top mode dial, which is physical on the R6, which, you know, isn't a big deal to me. All right, if you guys have either of these cameras, let me know your experience shooting with the R6 or the R5. If you're still deciding between choosing one of these cameras, just let me know in the comments section below what you're thinking about going with and why, and I will talk to you guys later.